The question is, have you guys seen the OG Avatar The Last Airbender, or are you going into the live action with no idea about the story?
We watched it many, many times.
And we love it!
We did.
We love it!
We still love it.
But the live action is a little bit meh. It's a little bit eh. But before we get to that, we've got to do fact of the day, page number 154, fact number
3.
The French for badger is blaireau, which also means shaving brush.
Shaving brush.
Yep.
Maybe their fur was used for shaving brushes?
That's quite possible. Hey, NarendraTheComic here. Yes,
say.
right now we're going to be doing an episode 1 review of Avatar The Last Airbender by Netflix. Now, we thought this show could be good. It could be great. We wanted it to be fantastic. And it turned out to just be okay.
One thing that did surprise me is that this is not a kids show. That was a question we had in our minds when we watched the trailers of, is this going to be a kids show like the original, or is it going to be aged up slightly to teens? Is it going to be even further up there? The creators were referencing Game of Thrones when they were talking about this.
That's what they wanted. Supposedly, they were going for that type of audience in terms of age. Now, I thought that was stupid. I still think it's wrong to do that with this show, but it's the direction they've gone in. And I do think for a first episode, if you haven't watched the original series, you're probably going to enjoy lots of this episode.
Yeah.
But if you have watched the OG series and you have some critical thinking, you're probably going to say, why did you do that? Why did you make that choice? And how does this make any sense in the long run?
But because this isn't a kids show, they have changed the structure. With the original show, the first 3 episodes of the OG is basically 1 episode of this. And that did have a slow start to begin with. They can't translate that for an adult-esque show to Netflix because people won't keep watching.
It's always difficult to transpose animation to live action, and I don't think they've done a terrible job because the CGI was very good in this episode. The fight scenes and choreography, top notch. Actually, I was very impressed with it. The distinctness of the styles was impressive. But outside of that, I don't think the acting was top notch. I don't think that there were many standout performances. In fact, there were a lot of standout bad performances.
Yes.
And I'll get to that. Sokka, actually very believable. They've changed the character a little bit. They haven't done too much, to which I'm looking at it annoyed. And I'm saying, maybe it's okay. The actor is doing a good job. Zuko.
Yes.
I buy it, the intonation is right, the feel is right, he's giving off the right energy, yes.
Yes, he's giving that Zuko fiery energy. It actually says to me that he's channeling the OG voice actor, and it was very, very believable.
And then you got to the bad ones. We'll start with Katara here, because she was definitely the worst of the bunch.
Yeah.
Wooden. A wooden board, and that's never a good thing. I don't care what you say, her delivery was shambolic. And yes, these are kids. Kids have some level of pass, but there are great kid actors out there.
There are.
She ain't one of them.
No.
Maybe she can improve though. There's a lot of time, a lot of seasons, a lot of episodes. Aang was better and a bit like Luffy, in which it's very hard to channel that energy without making it feel too cheesy.
Yeah,
he
I
did
think so.
okay.
I will say in his scenes, it was actually Monk Gyatso who was giving.
Obviously not in the original series in the first episode, but Monk Gyatso, top notch. I say you carried the episode, even though you shouldn't have been in the episode.
You shouldn't have been there, but I'm happy you were there.
Yeah, because you really delivered strongly. And Sozin was okay, a bit cheesy, but it did enough.
With Sozin, it's very difficult in 2 minutes of dialogue to give not just the cheesy, I'm a villain who wants to take on the world and take over the world, because that's all he has to work with right now. And we're not going to see much more of him within this season.
I think something that a lot of shows are experiencing nowadays is a reduced episode count, and this one has fallen foul to that as well. Because the original series is 20 episodes, and they're 20 minutes long. So maybe there's 7 hours of actual footage for the original series. This show, in live action, is 8 episodes, they're probably about 50 minutes each. So it's probably only going to be about 7 hours anyway. So you have 7 hours of animated storytelling, and you have 7 hours of live action, but you're going to change the story so much to fit this different feel, which doesn't really make any sense. 8 episodes isn't right. I can tell that just from the first episode here. What you should have done, and this is just my opinion, 13 to 15 episodes of 30 minutes. That way you would have got more distinct stories. Certain episodes could have their own episodes in the live action, and the smaller ones, the ones where they're kind of just on a little bit of a random adventure, could come together and be melded when it's right. However, if you're going to try and put these 20 episodes into 8, there's going to be a lot of mismatching.
Yeah.
Imagine putting the Blue Spirit with Avatar Day. It's just weird. I don't know how you're gonna make these episodes fit.
And also, one of the issues is you're not going to have time for any of the filler stuff or the mini adventures. Those adventures are necessary. We understand the characters better. We understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, where they're going. Sometimes they don't even know where they're going. They're just figuring it out while they're on ARPA, but we need to see those moments because they are still kids. And I feel like you're going to miss out on that because there's going to be no time for it.
And I think the reason why they've done that is actually because they want to remove the hopefulness from the series. I think you watch the original series, it is so inspiring. It's so full of optimism, even though they're faced with the toughest of circumstances. In this first episode, that's kind of been stripped away.
Yeah.
That light-hearted, fun, and yes, that needs to change in live action a little bit. You're trying to change the tone slightly, so it makes sense. But you can't just remove all the fun and expect people to say, I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's something we're going to actually notice in the future episodes. And maybe by the time we get to the end of the season, we're going to say, nah, boys, this is where the mistake actually begins.
When you're taking out the heart and soul of the series, I don't know how you can fix that in post. Yeah. I don't know how you can rectify that in season 2 if that doesn't get improved upon in season 1.
You can't foister it back in. It doesn't work like that. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
It's impossible. That is something which in the long term is going to detriment the show because in the end, what is this show? It's kids being kids, and I think they're going to age it up real quick in tone. And that is not fun one bit. But it was better than we thought it would be. It's not the show we wanted it to be. But will we watch the second episode? Yes.
Yeah.
Will we watch the whole season? I don't know.
Maybe.
It depends, doesn't it? If we get into it, we'll actually give a season review. If we don't, this is the only one we're going to do. So that's about it.